From the Ticats Audio Network, this is Ticats Today with Braden Neville.
On today's episode of Ticats Today, Marc Liegghio joins the show after re-signing with the Ticats. We discuss his choice to re-sign with the Cats, off-season training, and more. And the CFL free agency communication window officially opens up. It's Monday, February 5th, 2024, and you're listening to Ticats Today. It's going to be a busy week in the CFL as the CFL communications window has officially opened, allowing free agents to talk to all 9 teams in the league before free agency opens up on Valentine's Day. The window opened up yesterday at noon and will close at noon on the 11th. The Ticats did get a couple signings done before the window opened up, re-signing punter Corey Vedvik and kicker Marc Liegghio, 2 guys who came in during the year last year and were able to benefit that special teams. And joining me to talk about his decision to remain with the Ticats is Ticats kicker Marc Liegghio. All right, joining me now to discuss re-signing in the Hammer is Ticats kicker Marc Liegghio. Legs, congrats on the new deal, man, and thanks for joining me here today to talk about it.
Hey, awesome. Thank you so much. Glad we were able to get the deal done and just happy to be back in Steel Town.
How important was it for you to come back to Hamilton this season and play again here in 2024?
Well, it means a lot to me, right? Just getting the opportunity to join Hamilton after one game into the season last year, just getting to know like the locker room, the coaches, the staff, and everyone there. It's just Hamilton itself as an organization is awesome, and it just means a lot to me being close to home too, and especially being with Hamilton. It's just a awesome opportunity.
What was that first season like playing in front of this fan base that's so passionate about football?
Oh, the fan base is something else, like especially that Labor Day game against Toronto, just like the energy in the stadium all the time, like fans, they're really into it. And that's what I really liked about Hamilton this season was just the energy that the fans in the stadium brings, like on game day is something else.
And what was it like? I mean, getting to experience that first game coming here during the season and then to play in front of that fan base. But what did you notice was different about playing here in Hamilton as opposed to other places you've played?
I don't know. There's just like that different energy, like when that other team comes on the field, it's like you're playing in Hamilton. So I think like a lot of teams have that game marked off on the calendars, like, oh, we got to go to Hamilton and then, deal with our fan base and everything like that. There's just something about it. It's like just being on the field or even watching it from the stands, even hearing what my friends and family say when they come to the game. It's just something different and something I think everyone should kind of get the chance to experience.
Following the season, was there any doubt that you'd return here, or did you know this was the place you wanted to play again?
I knew I wanted to come back to Hamilton 100%. Obviously, the way that the free agency works and everybody knows how it works. And I'm just glad that we were able to come to a deal, and I'm just happy to be back in Hamilton, just be part of a great organization and, just love the guys and like just a sense of brotherhood we have in the locker room.
There's going to be a familiar face to you being the special teams coordinator next year, and that's Paul Boudreau. What can you say about him and your time playing for him and back in Winnipeg?
Yeah, he's awesome. I'm glad that he landed in Hamilton. Like we got a really good connection with each other, and we're pretty good buddies. On and off the field. Obviously, like congrats to Jeff on moving on to Hawaii football. He was awesome coach. Like loved getting to work with him, one of the all-time greats, and just like having a familiar face in Hamilton, and me and Boudreau are pretty good friends. Like I said, on and off the field, it's going to be an awesome year to get to work with him again.
Was that a guy you've kind of been keeping in contact with over the years, even when you came over here to Hamilton?
We always kept in contact, like during football, you build relationships on and off the field. And that's one that I kept off the field. And we just, connected well with each other down in Winnipeg. And obviously he was my first special teams coach in the pros. So just having that connection with him was awesome. And I'm just really glad I'm going to get the chance to work with him again and hopefully see him sometime soon up in Hamilton.
What kind of coaching styles does he bring? What kind of coach is he?
He's like, when we're in the office, it's down to business, got to get what we got to get done. He really cares about the special teams game and, how important we know it all is. And he just brings like some sort of energy that just like the passion to it and just wanting to work with them. And he's very easy to really like talk to, get to know like what kind of schemes he wants to do and stuff like that. And he's, I think the guys will get to like him like pretty quick on our team.
Was there any guys, once you going back to the re-signing, were there any guys that reached out to you right away as soon as they heard that Legs would be back playing for the black and gold?
Well, I don't think it's out there yet, but like, I have friends and family and some of the guys on the team that are like, legs, and they're giving me the nice little Italian hand gesture and everything. But yeah, no, like I'm pretty happy to be back, and especially having like Gordon White, the long snapper, still there, get that connection going still, and it's gonna be another awesome year.
And what has the training looked like for you so far this offseason? I know it's a little different being a kicker, but how's that been going and getting prepared for next year?
Oh, like so obviously when the season ended, it's more so like not so much like getting back at it right away, just like getting the body back to normal and like kind of taking it easy and getting ready for like the 2024 season. And the training's been steady so far. In the gym about five days a week, on the field twice a week. So not killing yourself already, but starting to pick it up as it gets closer and closer to May.
What is that like? What are some unique kicker training drills? If there's some young kickers out there, what are some stuff that you're doing to kind of train that aspect of the game?
Yeah, so it's definitely a different aspect of the way that we're supposed to train compared to like, other positions. The one thing I could say, like when I was younger in university, I always wanted to match the big weight with the guys, try and lift the most weight. And guys hated me in the gym because like, man, like, what are you doing? Like, why are you lifting so much weight? It's just something I think that it shows that you work hard in the gym and on the field. But I would say it's a lot more explosive movements instead of like the heavy squats and stuff like that. So a lot of single leg stuff, a lot of it explosive like supersets. And, it's not always about the weight. It's about how you're moving the weight and how quickly you can move it.
Another guy coming back is Vedvik. What's the relationship like with him? And have you been talking to him at all throughout this offseason? He's a guy you spend a lot of time with during the season.
Yeah. We've kept in touch a little bit. I know he went down. He's back he's back home now. So I'm just glad like he's getting a chance to come back, and like just him coming like halfway through the season and getting to work with him, because we were familiar with each other when we were both on Sask and Winnipeg, and we kind of kept in touch on the field. But getting to work with him and like the passion he has for it too, like the work he puts in the gym and on the field, and just like getting to work with him being my holder, and like just the connection we built is just very easy going, and just such a great guy.
Yeah, how different is that connection between a punter and a kicker, and in your case a holder too? But what's that connection like with a guy like that? I mean, you must be spending tons of time together and talking all the time throughout a season.
Yeah, it's basically like he's your brother for the year, you know what I mean? Especially too, like, when we go to road games, he's your roommate. You guys do like basically everything together during the season. So we had a pretty tight group last year with me, Gordo, and him, and I'm just glad we'll get to keep it going and keep that connection strong. I think that's a big thing, is just being comfortable and having that connection with somebody that really improves the game.
Do you have any goals for next season for 2024 that you'd like to build on?
Goals personally for me is just, get better every year. That's what I strive for, is just going one for one. It's that's I'm pretty hard on myself when it comes to like kicking, and obviously you want to be the best and do the best you can every time you're out there on the field. So it's just making the most of every opportunity that I get, and being better than I was last year. That's my biggest thing. Just working hard and just be the best for you.
Now, there'll be a new head coach for next season, Scott Milanovich, and a guy you've probably gotten to know a little bit over the last year. But what do you think about him coming in and what he's able to bring to a team?
Yeah, it's especially like getting to work with him a little bit last year too. Like he was, he's just an awesome coach to be around. Like the connection with the guys that he brought, like his drive and like the meeting rooms and stuff like that. I'm sure he's gonna take us all the way, like I knew he would last year too, right? So I don't know. I'm really happy to get a chance to get to work with him more and get to connect with him a little bit more than I did last year. So I think he's going to be great for our team, and I'm sure all the guys are going to love having him as a head coach.
Was it a thought in your mind to get this deal done before this talking period between teams, kind of this stagnant part of the free agency, or as we prepare for free agency? Was this something you wanted to get done prior to that?
Yeah, it's a risk that you take, do you want to get something done, or do you want to have the chance to maybe not have something ready to go, and then you're just hoping like something comes up. So, I'm really happy that I was able to do it before the talking stages came, and, get settled in and like kind of know what your home's going to be for the next year. And I'm glad again that it's with Hamilton. So I'm glad that I was able to do it before, free agency opens. But, this week's going to be crazy because there's going to be, a lot of names being thrown to other teams, and it's like just wild news that's going to pop up. So I'm glad that I have my home for next year, and I'm happy that it's with Hamilton.
For those guys who are sitting out or talking during these stages, what's that process like? Has that been something you've been involved in? And how weird is this kind of time and being basically solving where you're going to be playing for the next year or two or wherever that may be?
Yeah, so that's the thing. Like, this is my first year being a free agent because I was a rookie for the last 3 years. So going through the process for the first time, it's eye opening at some parts, but it's also like you're not really used to how it works because I've never done it before. But then talking to some of the veteran guys and stuff like that, it's like just being patient and not getting too stressed out. You know what you're worth, and like what you did last year, what you put on tape. So I'm sure everything will work out, but obviously it's the waiting game and just like the stress factor of like what's going to happen is the biggest thing.
Yeah.
But all I can say is, everything works out and it's got its timeline. So it's just be patient and good things will come.
I know there's still a lot of pieces to be added to this puzzle, and we're waiting to see how this roster shapes up. But do you think that this team has the potential to compete once again for a championship and be a playoff team again?
Oh, of course. Like, Hamilton's always been in the playoffs for like the past years now, and we've always had like that drive that we're more than just a first round team, right? So that's what I think that we're going to bring this year, and be able to get to that Grey Cup is always the goal for every year, and I think like we definitely have the opportunity to get to where we want to be. Last year fell short just a little bit, and of course the Grey Cup was in Hamilton, so it would have been awesome playing at home against like whoever it could have been, and being in front of our fan base is just it's a benefit in itself, and it gives us like that upper hand. I think a lot of teams know that. So I think we got the drive, and we're going to be really good this year for 2024.
Well, Mark, I'm excited to see you back playing for the Ticats. I'm sure Ticats fans will be excited to see you back here come May. The best name a kicker's ever had in the CFL. I'm going to stick to that, and he's going to be in the black and gold next year. So, Marc Liegghio, I appreciate you joining me today, man, and looking forward to seeing you come back to Tim Hortons Field.
Hey, awesome, man. Thanks for having me, and just glad to be part of the Hamilton family. Oscar,
Thanks.
wee wee.